I think this has been going on. I mean, I know it's been going on, Russell says, sort of 3 years, but certainly all the time I've been on the leadership team, we've been thinking and praying about the way forward. The conversations that we were starting to have about, is the way that we do things, is that necessarily the only way or the correct way, began to resonate with me because I was thinking in terms of the worship team and in terms of my own family, and seeing that what we'd always done wasn't working. And you say, well, why isn't it working? Because what we have in essence is good. You know, worship is good, the word is good, relationships are good and things like that. But somehow the mix isn't working. And I suppose God was just talking to me about his heart in the matter and how he sees things and how he sees church. And I realised that church wasn't just about getting together and enjoying ourselves. There's a bigger picture, there's a much bigger picture, which I know other people know, but the realisation of that and going on little mission trips, although they're good, still somehow means that I can scuttle back to my nice, comfortable living. And I suppose about a year ago, the challenge was that my Christianity is actually very safe. I've been a Christian for a long time and my Christianity is very safe, and actually Jesus was very radical. So some of the conversations I was having in terms of the worship team and where the worship team was going, and some of the people's grumbles about things, started me thinking about, God, there has to be more. There has to be more than what we're doing. There has to be more. There has to be another level. There has to be something which gets me out of my comfort zone. And I'm somebody who likes to live in a comfort zone. I'm very happy where I am. I'm not an adventurer. But at the same time knowing that this wasn't enough. This just isn't enough. And I suppose it's conversations with people and bringing it down to your day-to-day life, what's happening in my family, what's happening in my cell group. I started to talk to other people. I have some very good friends in Germany who I went to visit in April, and they were talking about, Lord help us if we just have a programme in the church. If it's just about the programme, then what are we doing here as God's chosen people? And they suggested a book to me, which was You See Bones, I See an Army by Floyd McClung. And I love Floyd McClung. It's my YWAM roots and things like that. So I decided I was going to read that. Got hold of a copy, and the first couple of chapters I was like, no, I disagree, this isn't right, and how can he say this? But thought, well, I do like Floyd McClung very much, so I will carry on with the book and see how far I get. And the more I read, the more challenge it gave to me and the more questions it provoked. And by the end of the book, I was thinking, yes, this is what I understand by church. I don't know whether this would actually work in an English context, but I get what he's trying to say. I get that we have to be mission-focused. If we're mission-focused, then everything else falls into place. At the same time, we were given the book Exiles to read as a leadership team, and I got into that as well. And it's far more theological and thought-provoking, and really have to get your head around some of the ideas. But I loved the book. I'm still reading it. It's taken me forever to read. I don't agree with everything, but it's such a challenge to me to think outside the box and to think of myself as an exile in a foreign land and how that would shape everything that I do, that I am then missional in everything that I do. And of course then we're talking about it in the leadership team and about how to do cells and about how to do church differently. And I thought, it's no good. When I come back, this is sort of up to the summer holidays, and so all through the summer holidays I was thinking about it, and I've been reading these books. And I thought, I've got to go and talk to somebody about this, because I don't think that I can do church and oversee the leadership of the worship team in the context that I am now doing it. I no longer truly believe in the way that it's being done now, and therefore I have to admit to that, because that may cause problems. So I came back from my holiday, first day back in the office with Russell, and just started talking about what I thought and said I needed to talk to maybe the core team leaders about some of my thoughts for the worship team. And before I knew it, we're having this conversation about mission-shaped church and mission-shaped communities and how that would have such a knock-on effect with everything that we do. And then as I was sitting there talking, I said, so my mission-shaped community would be, for example, family-orientated. We have the people that I know whose children want to do football on a Sunday, or they want to invite their neighbours to so many things. They're interacting, they've been praying for their neighbours, people have been ill, they go to the gym, they go to sports clubs, and yet on a Sunday there's no way that they feel that they could invite those people to our set time of worship because they're completely unchurched people who have no concept of worship and prayer and church. But they would invite them to all of the social things that we do. So I said, well, how about a mission-shaped community that's based around the family? So you go out and you go to the football meeting and you stand on the sideline and you cheer for the kids, and then you invite everyone back for lunch, and then you just pray for them, and you pray for people going out in the week and for their jobs. And then you meet the next week and you will go for, I don't know, swimming together, or you go camping together. Invite them all around for a barbecue, but the whole thing is Jesus-based and mission-based. So you're inviting them to come and be part of your life, you're inviting them to pray, to be prayed for, and you're showing them a bigger picture of worship. So your worship is about your day-to-day living, but at the same time showing them biblical celebration. So on a Sunday morning, you know, maybe once or twice a month we say, right, what we're doing this Sunday is we're going to go and celebrate and hear about what God is doing elsewhere as well. And then further down the line you could run alpha courses, or you could run marriage courses, or you could run money secret courses, because you would then have people in your sphere of influence that were having problems with money, or having problems with their children, so you have parenting courses, and then that could divide up, so you could have people in different neighbourhoods doing similar things, people with the same vision. So you're getting the teenagers involved, and you're getting the children involved on a weekly basis, but it's in a much smaller environment where people can't hide. There'd be high accountability, so you're asking people how they're getting on, what they're doing. You're needing, you know, response from them and responsibility from them as well, because they are absolutely vital to the group. Their gifting and their ability that God has put in them is absolutely necessary to that group of 30 people, whereas in the church of maybe 150 they're going to get lost and don't feel that they have any worth. So I'm really excited, because I know that this is from God. This isn't just an idea that we've grasped from somewhere else and pulled in because we read about it and thought it was a good idea. God has been talking to us about this for a long time. It's taken him a long time to change our minds and to change our mindset as to how church can be done on a mission-shaped basis rather than a meeting-shaped basis. And the interesting thing is, you start to do all those things that you keep nagging people about. So we've now been praying about this really hard, and we've been seeking God in so many different ways, and I find my thoughts during the day are towards God about how we can do this and how we can really find his will in all of this. But at the same time, I'm really excited because I know that this is his will for us, and I know that this is something that's going to be so radical. Flip side, nice comfort zone person who doesn't like to adventure very much, I'm scared witless by the amount of administration that will mean, and the amount of people that might involve and include, and how do you keep hold of all of that. Flip side, God is in control. This is God's plan, God's purpose, and therefore he will show us how we work that one out. I'm just very excited, and